the Phoenixcall, which kind of sounds like a book in the Harry Potter series, but it's not. This IEM is gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. Just, oh wow. I when I first opened this thing, I was just looking at it and like, beautiful. Just beautiful. It feels really well built. Like these don't feel cheap. Like they don't feel like, they're just like cheap plastic and hollow. No, these feel nice. Like these are way nicer in person than like pictures. Like when I first saw pictures of these, I was like, oh, okay, these kind of look cheap maybe. No, they are quite nice and they are beautiful. And yeah, I quite dig the look and build of these. The nozzle could be a little bit chunky for some, so just a warning there if you're sensitive to that sort of thing. But yeah, overall, I quite like the build. These are beautiful. Just they're gorgeous. And then the cable, the pink and the blue, and how it all kind of matches. And then oh man, like it's a nice cable. Like it's a nice cable. The ear hooks, like they're comfortable enough. Didn't have any issues with fit or comfort myself, but I also have big ear holes, so keep that in mind. Just wow. Like this cable is beautiful. I'm thoroughly impressed with the build quality of this. I was not expecting it to be this beautiful and this well built. Looking at the pictures originally and then got it into my hands and it's like, wow, these feel special. These feel quite nice. Case, little zipper case. It's fine. Works. No big deal. Did came with 2 sets of tips. Just kind of silicone sort of tips. Build quality. I like it. I quite like the build. This feels it just feels and looks beautiful. Just gorgeous. Gorgeous. How does this thing sound? So, the graph. The graph looks a bit janky. Like this, on a graph, this doesn't look enjoyable. But when you listen to it, I find it enjoyable. It is borderline too much for me in the upper mids and treble. Borderline. But it has so much mid bass that it kind of balances it all out. It does this warm, bright sort of tuning where it's both like kind of thick and warm in the low end, but also like bright and sparkly in the top end. It reminds me of 2 IEMs in particular. It reminds me of the C Audio Rinko with the bass kind of feel and profile and how that is. The Rinko bass is a little more tactile. Like the Rinko bass is a little more oomph, but it's a very similar vibe when it comes to like how that bass is done. And then it kind of has similar treble profiles to both the Rinko and the Hook X. This, in the treble, upper mids and treble, this very much gave me Hook X vibes. It has a similar kind of sparkle and sizzle. The Hook X is borderline too much for me. It is that IEM is like the bleeding edge of what I can handle. This has more bass, and I actually enjoy this more personally than the Hook X because it has enough bass that it kind of balances that out. Like it balances that all out. If it wasn't for the bass, if this didn't have as much bass as it did, I don't think I could listen to this. It is very, very bright in the top end, but it has that warmth, like that warm, bright thing going on with the mid scoop. It's enjoyable, and for some music, it is very enjoyable. Really depends what you're listening to there. So, to me personally, this is kind of like if Rinko and Hook X had a baby. That's what this sounds like to me. Which, if you like those 2 IEMs, this is great. I like the Rinko myself. I found it fun and different and enjoyable. I kind of like the Hook X. The Hook X is good. It's just I didn't like it for its price. It's expensive. It's like over $300 Canadian. I don't suggest buying it because of its price. But it's enjoyable. It's a different listen, and that treble is to me the Hook X is like a treble head kind of IEM. This is like it's kind of like right in the middle of that. It has a lot of treble and sparkle and shine, but it just has that warmth and it has that thickness in the bass, which is quite enjoyable. When it came to things like Run the Jewels, this is fun. It has enough bass to make it fun. It has enough bass to make it enjoyable. Vocals came through in the mix. They're very clear. I didn't have a lot of problems with stuff that was kind of like techno-y based or like, you know, had an electronic background. That's what this is really good for. Audio Slave, Show Me How to Live. It had a little bit too much for me in the treble, just a pinch, but it does have enough bass that this is still I can still listen to it. Yeah, it's fun, it's enjoyable. It's just a little bit too much in the treble for Audio Slave. Lady Antebellum, Lady A, good time to be alive. Sounded quite nice actually. Yeah, didn't have much complaints there. I like it. I love it. Tim McGraw, a little bit too spicy in the treble for that song in particular. Simple Plan, Welcome to My Life, sounded pretty good. Didn't have any complaints there. All Star, Smash Mouth, didn't have any complaints there. Rage Against Machines, not a ton of complaints, just occasionally the odd cymbal hit. So overall, when it came to listening to music, I quite like these for like rap, hip hop, things that had electronic background. I didn't love them for country. I didn't mind them for rock and roll. It has enough mid bass and thump to kind of to compensate. I do personally enjoy these more than the Hook X. I find them more enjoyable, better to listen to. All around, this to me is like a better Hook X. That's how this sounds to me. Rinko, comparing them, I like different aspects of each. I like the bass technicality of the Rinko. That is something that this is kind of lacking, but everything else I give to this. I like this better in every other way, just except for the bass. The Rinko bass, there's something to it that's quite enjoyable. Overall, do I recommend these? I believe they're under $150. You got like quite a few drivers in there, BAs, microplanars, which I believe the microplanar is the same kind of planar that's in the Rinko. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. It has quite a bit going on in there. I personally like it. I think it's worth its money. Build-wise, I think it's worth its money. Sound-wise, I think it's worth its money. It just comes down to, are you okay with a unique, different kind of tuning? Because this isn't your standard Harman IEM. This isn't your basic tuning. This is different. And that's what I kind of like about it. I like that it's different. I like that it's not just like the same old Harman tuned IEM. And it sounds good. I think the implementation was well done. If I were to change anything, I mean, maybe I'd take down everything. Like, I take down the upper mids and treble just a bit. Just take that down a little bit. Other than that, I don't think I would change much. I actually quite like the bass. I quite enjoy the bass. I like the overall style of tuning this is going for. I just wish that it was just a pinch chamber in the upper mids and treble. And at that point, I could probably use this as an all-arounder. But with that treble and stuff, I don't really love country music with it. So it's not an all-arounder for me, but it's still something I enjoy listening to. I will be keeping this IEM. I'm not going to sell this one. I'm not going to give it away. This one is staying in my collection. This is mine now. Honestly, even just the looks alone, I really dig the look and feel of this IEM. And when it comes to sound, yeah, when I'm really wanting that treble shine and sparkle, I'd probably reach for this. This is probably going to replace the Hook X for me. I probably won't reach for the Hook X at all anymore. I would reach for this instead. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this. I think it's good. I think it's enjoyable. I personally enjoy it. I personally like it. I would recommend it if you're into this kind of tuning. This is one of those tunings that it doesn't look good on paper. It really doesn't look good on a graph. But when you listen to it, it has this like warm, bright thing. It is enjoyable. I personally enjoy listening to this. So yeah, I like it. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time.